one of the other really neat MicroProfile abilities is OpenAPI generation. So OpenAPI used to be called Swagger. It's the way of documenting REST APIs. Like it's a way, but it's like by and large, like by far the dominant way of documenting.
I am a user of OpenAPI and a big believer in OpenAPI, and very much recommend that people pay attention to it and use it.
So when you use this, you get it for free. The way this works is that there is, if you go to app/OpenAPI, it will look at all of the REST services you have registered in your application, and it will generate OpenAPI for you. So by default, it'll be named after your NSF. You can configure all this stuff. It'll say, here's your URL. So if you download this and throw it into Swagger UI or PAW or whatever REST client, like however you use OpenAPI, it's just there for you. There's also the JSON version. But what this is doing is it goes through and says, I see there's in this example app, there's a whole bunch of REST services, and it found all of them. And then additionally, and I'll show you this in the JSON example, you can provide documentation for these. So there's a standard set of annotations in the org Eclipse MicroProfile where you'd say at operation, description is this, and then you write your description in there. This goes all the stuff you could do, like you can document your schemas, you can document your parameters, you can say, here's a default value, here's an example value. You can go really far. And actually we do with one of my clients where we adopted OpenAPI programmatic stuff for the app, where we have all of our REST services annotated up where it says, here's what it's supposed to do, here's an example input, all the stuff that you would see in OpenAPI is supported in here. And this all happens at runtime. So if I were to change this exclamation mark and then reload this, go back to OpenAPI. Oh, great, I broke it. Yeah, well, it happens. That's why I don't do this stuff at runtime.
Okay, but so as you take a look at that, I'll just say that, that the output that you were putting on the page there is essentially a YAML notation, right? So you can basically copy and paste that, save it as a YAML file, and then go to OpenAPI. What is it? What's the website that has it? Oh gosh.
OpenAPI tools. Right, that's an organization, I know. Anyway,
it's the one that you can use for documentation. I'll get it and put it into the comments for the video. But basically, you can use that site to generate a YAML file, or in this case, take this YAML, paste it in there, and it would automatically format and then generate the spec for you.
Yeah.
Right. So like this is the spec, fair enough.
Yes.
Right. But this is in YAML notation, so we can take this and then you get a pretty picture, right? You get the OpenAPI spec Swagger output that's all formatted nicely.
Yeah, and so you can use Swagger UI to do it, or you could say, say you are the server-side developer writing the backend for an application, and you have a front-end developer, and they know how to use OpenAPI stuff. Yeah. You could hand that off to them. They run it through a processor, and they get JavaScript bindings. They get whatever other bindings. Like that's the point where OpenAPI is. That's your neutral format. And then they can just do that, and then suddenly they have a client for the services you are writing on the server.
I remembered it. It's called Swagger Hub. If you go to Swagger Hub website, you can input this YAML file, and it'll generate the pretty formatted everything.
Yeah. And then when I finish this current version of Jakarta EE, you won't have to restart HTTP when that happens. So that's something I'll look into. It's actually related to some other bug that I have tracked just in development. XPages is weird and creaky, so you run into that kind of thing sometimes.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just something that you just get. It'll show you all of your REST services, and you can document them. And then that way, like if you are the backend developer, or even for your own use, like it's handy to have this for testing or whatever. So it's good for collaboration, it's good for documentation, good for your own use. And then that's just there for you. Like it just happens. You don't have to write anything special for it.